your child or the person that you're caring for kind of at ease. And I even noticed, like, I have a friend who I visit sometimes. I work in Atlanta. I have a friend who I visit, and her child is on the spectrum. He always goes for my bracelet. I only wear one today. But normally I have a few, and he'll come to me, play with my bracelets, and leave. So I realized how much like touch is so important to, you know, people who have autism or people who are on the spectrum. And sometimes I'm not going to buy him bracelets, but I have considered like what may be helpful. There is like different sensory things. It's not necessarily fashion per se, but there are pillows and there are different tools and items that you may be able to use and bring with the person that you're caring for, so that it still provides the same type of calm or release that maybe a cashmere would. You know what I mean?
Well, or even just a heavy, like the breathing vests and things, but.
Oh, yeah, for
that's a
sure.
little less therapeutic looking, but a little smart.
A scarf,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So,
I
And
would
things
say,
that don't have elastic.
oh, for sure. Do I talk about?
I would say,
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
it's in there.
one of my clients, the caregiver used to wear the Crocs. The one she had, or it was some sandals too, he liked the rubber part,
Mhm.
like even on the watch, like you had to wear the rubber part. And I had to tell her, because he wanted to like taste it and put it in his mouth and stuff, and I was like,
You can't let him do that.
yeah, you can't wear that type of material, but this was also a young man who had figured out, because one of the things, I don't know why, but my sister had this issue, and I've met a couple of the young adults. They like to get naked. It's on the spectrum, and it's like
Happening.
they want to be free. They get naked, but they had found some items where they could zip them up from the back and put a button.
So they can't take off their clothing.
Yeah.
So stuff is popping up on your computer.
Okay.
I don't know why it's popping up, sorry.
But yeah, actually,
But-
I'll read this
oh.
slide because it does talk to the thing that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So identifying sensory issues early on will help during shopping trips. Our tags in the shirt an issue, get items that have labels ironed on or are tagless. If zippers are an issue, opt for a V-neck item, or like you said, something that you can kind of put on quickly. And that's for you, but I don't necessarily, I know it's important to differentiate what works for us and what doesn't work for, or what works for our friends with our autism as well. But a lot of times it's the same stuff. Like, I don't like something on the back of my neck all the time. So I can imagine somebody who has sensory issues is not going to like that. So it's completely understandable across the board. And we just want to make sure we know exactly what it is so we can shop that way for them. And so that they can still be fly. So we need to know the issues so we can shop them with intention.
I like that
One of
shop
the
with
quotes that
intention.
say he did learn how to
Oh,
yeah. So even though they tried different shopping methods,
it's crazy.
he still would get
Out of those clothes.
But
That's an interesting one.
Even my non-autistic child, the idea, anything turtlenecks or anything.
On
It
him.
made her just so agitated that she was obsessed with taking it off, and so. it- Almost the idea of what would have kept it on her was what made her feel like she absolutely had to get it on.
Mhm.
So. It's all.
yeah.
Makes sense. Like I said, I feel like we're more similar than we are different, but I don't know always like stuff on my neck either. But yeah, so budget me, please. I need to practice this more in my personal life. But being stylish is for everyone. I say that all the time. But it does not have to break the bank. One can find beautiful articles of clothing in various places, discount stores. Everything here is discounted actually. TJ Maxx, couple books, like I'm gonna shop cheap, but I will do it a lot, so it still ends up being a lot of money. Anywho, clothing in various places, discount stores, estate sales, you may know, thrift stores, obviously. And I have done like a clothes swap before. So if you have other moms that maybe have a similar sizing to your kid, or somebody who, or other caretakers, let's say as well, who may have similarities in the build or structure of the person that you're caring for, you can do clothes swaps, make it an activity, make it fun and get them into the situation so that they can touch and feel and see what they like and what they don't like. We know based off of how they respond to things, whether or not they're gonna like something or not like it. So even in the environment, maybe you can bring things home first to see how they respond to things. And then if that goes well, then I would say you can take them out into the stores or see how that may work for you. Sometimes we know different, depending on what end of the spectrum someone is on, if being out in the field is going to be agitating them even more, or if it's not. So I wouldn't suggest that for every person, but if you know the person that you're caring for, you know it's gonna work for you, or it could be fun later, or you know, you kind of plan a day around it, I would suggest that because it makes them feel involved in the process, which I think for socialization, which you guys were talking about a lot earlier, will be really great for them. These are just some different kind of aesthetics that people kind of lean to. So who is more classic? I feel like you might, you know, benefit from this. Put some black on and maybe you could too. You know, you said you kind of lean toward more classic and modern. We like colors, so maybe for you, this would be most beneficial. But it's discovering what is going to work for you, what makes you feel your best self. I always say, I think I said this at the beginning, like your introduction, this is your hello. Like, even if somebody doesn't speak to me, they might be inclined to, even if they don't necessarily like, oh, she looks kind of mean. Back, you know what I mean? So especially with socialization, we want to kind of put them in environments where, or I feel like in items, articles of clothing that they would be more open to someone approaching them. If, again, we all know who we're caring for, if that is something that you want for them, or if that's something that you feel like would be beneficial for them. The accessories, I think the hat, the glasses, things of that nature is going to make it like, oh, it is really cool. And again, this has some cashmere in it, has some chunky knit cable in there as well, but the fabric and the details are gonna help determine like how far we can go. If we know that this person is not about that life and they're not gonna keep the clothes on, don't do it. We can keep it simple. Definitely keep it simple. If it's just sweats, give them a cute pair of sneakers to kind of dress up the look if you want to. It's just making sure, like, I like to look polished. I don't imagine that anyone wants to go out into society not looking their best. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're in a 5-inch heel or, you know, the most expensive pair of shoes or anything of that nature, but just being well put together. And I think that's a privilege that all of us should be able to say that we have. And this is really important because I was trying to figure out like who are some people who were autistic and maybe we didn't know. There was a very long list of people actually, but some people just don't speak about their diagnosis as much as others. But yeah, he's a soccer player who I had no idea that he was autistic, but he is, and he's actually very much trending for fashion as well. So I like to kind of bring these sort of names to the forefront because I think that I'm sure all of you have experienced that people try to put your kid or the person that you're caring for in a box because of their diagnosis. And I'm not about that life. Nor do I think that they would be, if maybe if they're not audible, or if they're inaudible is what I was trying to say, if they could represent themselves, I don't think that they would appreciate being treated differently because of their diagnosis.
I work with like the more nonverbal side, and I think sometimes it's like they've gotten, because my main girl is 28, and I feel like she lives with her dad, and that's kind of like, well, she doesn't really like this, but she actually like it's, they kind of like just assume that,
Yeah.
well, because I bought you these things, now you like them, so I can go shopping.
Not
for
the same
you.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I think unfortunately people who, like you said, are adults, folks who have this diagnosis, like we force them into a certain box too, as the caregiver, right? But it's like I said earlier, if you can kind of touch this, feel this, like, what do you think about this? Try this on. Everybody likes a little fashion show. Like everybody wants to kind of get dressed and undressed, sometimes more dressed than dressed, but everybody likes that, to see like what they enjoy about themselves. And like I said, it can be an activity, but also it is a piece of us that we kind of hone in at a certain age. And during high school, we decide like, oh, I like this about myself. I don't like this about myself. Or I like when I wear this. I like the way I feel when I look like this. It's the same. Like that's not different for anybody on earth, I don't think.
Yeah.
So we all kind of discover ourselves, but we do it on our own. Whereas in these situations, sometimes someone has to help us do that.
Her job really kind of brought it out in her, and it's interesting.
Cool to watch.
To see, yeah,
Yeah.
'cause even with me, she's like, no,
Not
anymore.
I don't like it. I don't like that.
I think that's very important to get them to step outside of the comfort zone if you can.
Yeah.
It's the same as eating the same kind of food.
Absolutely. Really great analogy, actually.
Yeah, and you need to like open it up just to see how this color, looks like, or just a different look. It's just
Mhm.
breaking that comfort zone
Mhm.
and getting them into there, because I know with my sister, my mother used to buy jogging suits for her like all the time. Hair straight braid back, jogging suits.
Mhm.
And I'm like, can we just try something different? But to my mom,
It's
it
just
wasn't
easier.
about the
Simple.
fashion,
Yeah.
it was about this is the easiest way,
Yep.
change a diaper
Yep.
and
Yep.
just get a
And
dress.
once you've been through all of the sensory meltdowns,
Yeah.
and caregiver, you're just
Like,
like exhausted. It's like, I know that you'll put this on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, you will not take it off. And you want to take it off.
even though you
That's
had it
right.
on for 7 days and you don't have to wash it, it's not go.
And then you're
Yeah.
like, nothing can happen to this because I have to wash it and then it's in another one.
Yeah.
And we have to,
So
So in that situation, I would say multiples. If
Oh,
we-
no, but no.
Yeah, that's
Okay, sorry.
part two.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
They
but
spilled this one, they ripped that one. and-
But to be fair, in my life, if I buy something, if I see something I like, I buy it in every color.
Mhm.
I get it in everything because I like this. I don't know what's gonna happen to. I'll buy multiples of it because what if they stop making it? Like I need a backup.
Yeah.
That's the way I process it. So it makes sense to purchase it the same way. But yeah, I just feel like there are so many people who are represented in this demographic that we don't know about because maybe they're not on the farthest end of the spectrum, but they're still working with this same diagnosis. So for me, I wouldn't want anybody to put me in a box. I'm completely audible and I can say what I like and what I don't like, but God forbid somebody mute me one day. No way, Jose. You're gonna know what I like. You're gonna know what to put me in. You're gonna know what I enjoy, right? So I just want to give that same respect to everybody, and really in all demographics, to be fair. But yeah, I think that's the end of it. Do we stay in touch? Oh, there should have been a picture of me right there. Oops, it's fine. If you want, I do have a website called summerrock.com. And it's just like when you first go to the landing page, it's Hello Summer. I do shop for people when I do travel a bit more for work now. But I would be happy to help in any way that I can. And happy for anybody to stay in touch with me. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Oh, we have something in here.
Oh,
Let's see. I'm an adult with sensory processing disorder.
yeah,
Okay.
so we might, in this situation, want to just get you the softest or whatever fabrication is going to be comfortable for you. We take a quick shop together and see what you like and what you don't like, what you respond to well and what you don't respond to well, and try to bulk up on what you like so that it's always available for you. Thanks for tuning in.
Ask her what's her 3, what would be her 3, or.
What's your big 3?
I think we can.
Your 3 words to describe yourself.
Give her a minute to think
Yeah.
about it.
Any
We put her on the
questions?
spot.
Any other questions for me?
Did you ask me what my 3 words?
Yes.
Okay, what was the question? Sorry, I'm multitasking. I teach
Okay.
high school special needs,
Oh,
and we have
Oh,
a
wow.
veterans program coming up, and I'm working on that. I'm doing and listening to y'all too. I'm doing 3 things at once. My normal life.
talented, very talented, wearing several hats. I was asking what your big 3 are, the 3 words that you just would use to describe your style personality.
A personality. Oh, they're staying there. Loud.
So Prince fabric. Prince rather.
Yeah, loud. Personable and
I like that.
outgoing.
I like that. So we're probably gonna be a range of colors for somebody like that. Probably gonna not shy away from like different kind of prints or mixing
No, I
prints
like
even.
prints.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What else? Anything else? Anybody have any? Yes, ma'am.
So my daughter is getting married next summer, so I'm already kind of stressing about getting my son into something. Wedding.
Appropriate. Okay.
Suggestions.
What, I would need to know more about your son.
He's,
Is this a stripper?
no,
Okay.
but he's the super sensory.
Okay.
I mean, he just lives in
Next
sweatpants.
summer.
And soft t-shirts and, you know, athletic shoes and. And so, I mean, he's a good guy.
Been a guy.
Yeah, I mean, before the pandemic, he would wear, you know, regular slacks to church, but he won't wear a belt. So, just, you know, won't tuck his shirt in, won't. Yeah, so there's just stuff like that that I'm already kind of like.
I think there's a way around that. There's something called a French tuck, which is just tucking that's the very front of it. So maybe he doesn't have to tuck the full shirt all the way around. He could also probably wear something that's linen, which is, if we do a nice soft linen, depends on how much you gotta spend here.
That's the other problem, but see, even when he was younger, like occasionally if I had a function here, he won't wear a long sleeve because he's got OCD and he's always washing his hands. His arms are all wet and so.
So there's a fabric called, it's like a light, it's let me test. It's a summer weight sweater, you could get him, that would allow him to roll his sleeves up, which could also make him look a little more cool and like laid back. Will lend to what he likes. And then we could wear a pair of, I would still say linen, we could do the lightweight linen with a lightweight sweater, maybe something that's V-neck, so it's not super close on him, roll the sleeves up. If he doesn't want to wear a belt, then I would try to find something. Elastic may be a little bit harder to find. You know, actually, no, there might be a drawstring with a linen pant that you could wear, and then put some loafers on them, so that it's something that can easily slide in and out of. So it's definitely, in my head, he looks amazing. So I'm sure he'll look amazing in person as well. But yeah, it's doable. I just feel like if we know there are things that he doesn't like,
Well, and that,
we
and
won't
I'm
dress
trying
him
to
like
think
that.
out of the box.
Okay.
Because that's what all this is gonna end up being.
So, but that's probably best. Don't try to think of the
Well,
box.
yeah, and when we already kind of opted not to be part of the, you know, groom's
Procession.
party, you know, just so that he wouldn't. You know,
Have to, okay, got it.
he would, stand.
The suiting
Yeah,
per se.
exactly.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
well, I appreciate your. Yeah.
My pleasure. Again, if you talk to me
Yeah.
after and like maybe I can get some more information. And maybe I can try to put some things together that might look nice for him and send it to him.
I'll have to talk to my daughter.
Yeah, because also like what is
Surprise.
yeah, I was gonna say, what does she want also?
And
So we'll
that's-
try to
that's
find a
why I-
healthy medium,
Kind of the idea.
putting it out there a little bit.
Right, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Nothing else? Nothing else? Okay, thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I am.